Duperas y Duperas. Today on Dupe by the River, the Philadelphia Union got their first 3 points of the season. We're going to discuss that Montreal matchup as we also look ahead at this upcoming weekend, as we're going to bring in San Jose without Jamiro Montero. And don't you dare go anywhere, guys, because you do not want to miss this episode of Dupe by the River. Let's get this started, guys.
Dupe by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to Dupe by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union. And, of course, we are brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into today's episode of Dupe by the River, real quick, guys, make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe to the Parceros Phillies YouTube channel. We broadcast all these lives on this channel every single week. And, of course, you can catch us on PSN Radio alongside all of your other favorite Philly Sports Network podcasts. And you can find that wherever you stream pods, from Apple, Spotify. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's introduce you our experts duping. And first, ladies and gentlemen, that Burton hoodie, Zach Lobasso. What's up, Zach? How you feeling, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm ready to talk some Union soccer, man. I'm excited. And then, of course, my man, Mr. Justin, name pending VAR review Friedberg. Justin, what's up, brother? How you feeling?
You know, it's another week. Get to talk about the Union. Get to talk about a victory.
Yeah,
so
dude.
always a good day.
Yes, sir, man. It's exciting to talk about the first win for the Union season, and we'll obviously dissect into that. We'll look ahead at San Jose's matchup as well later on with a very special guest as well. But, gentlemen, as always, we are Union fans, number one, but number two, big MLS fans. And I think that this past weekend, we saw a huge moment for our league, our young league. Of course, if you did not watch on Saturday night down in Charlotte, North Carolina, Charlotte had their home opener in a sellout crowd, 74,000 strong, to watch Charlotte FC take on the pitch. It was a L. They didn't take any points against LA Galaxy, but it was a special moment as a soccer fan living in America, seeing Bank of America Stadium, the packed as it is. It wasn't for the Panthers, it was for Charlotte FC. And as myself, snob as I like to call myself, it was a very special moment, and I kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts on just the atmosphere and what this could mean for our league going forward and expansion, all that good stuff. Justin, name pending VAR review, man. What's your thought on Saturday night?
Yeah, you know, it's great to see a new team come in and I think really take the town by storm. I know my cousin is a season ticket holder for Charlotte FC in the supporter section, and he was sending me pictures all night, and it seemed like he was having a good time, and it seemed like everyone was having a good time. And honestly, I think that's just, in the end, that's what you want from soccer in this country. You want to see that passion, that, you know, that drive. Now, you're not going to have almost 75,000 every game, but if you can maintain at least in that stadium like 40,000, I mean, it seems like there's enough, you know, hoopla and buzz surrounding the team that it seems like, at least for this season, you know, they'll have some kind of real drive going. Now, obviously, as you know, play may not be great. Yeah, fans might not show up as much, but you're still going to have the diehards, the people that want to show up. So, I mean, there were a lot of good stories about that night. My personal favorite was Sasha Kleshton.
Yeah, it was pretty dope.
And the kid that, you know, 10 years ago he visited, you know, in a hospital, was battling cancer, and now he was a draft pick of Charlotte and swapped jerseys. Like,
yeah.
You know, you talk about soccer being the beautiful game. Well, that's definitely one of those heartwarming moments that makes you like believe in, you know, the good parts of the sport.
Yeah, it also shows us Sasha's getting pretty old, man. I'm just kidding. No, but it's definitely a great. Yeah, it's definitely a great story, and so many of those type of stories the past couple of seasons, and so many great stories on that night as well. Obviously, the national anthem. That I thought that caught a lot of buzz throughout social media. That was so dope to see, and that's like those little beautiful moments. That's why we love this game. That's why, as Justin said, it is the beautiful game. Zach, man, any takeaways from Charlotte on Saturday night?
It was very loud. It was very loud.
It's important.
It's honestly a shame that we didn't see them score a goal, because then I would have loved to hear what the stadium sounded like with 75,000. I mean, I'm sure it sounds a lot like what Atlanta sounds like, but in a different environment, it would have been cool. But the stadium looked good. I liked Charlotte's kits a lot more, on person, than I did just when they got
it's still
released.
kind of bland, but it's a decent jersey.
Yeah. And then
First kit.
Yeah, it is a shame, like Justin said, that it's not going to be 75,000 every week. But I mean, that's the nature of the thing. And then until they get a soccer specific stadium, I don't know what the parameters of how many seats they're planning on having there. But I think 30 to 35, maybe even 40,000 seat stadium in Charlotte isn't out of the realm of possibility to be sold out every week. Because realistically, the whole mid-Atlantic region is a big, probably the biggest soccer region in the country in terms of the coalition of teams that exist, both youth, college, and professional. And I think that teams really need to take advantage of the fact that there are kids playing soccer all over the place. And besides your supporters groups, families are the ones that are going to be buying the most tickets.
Yeah.
So marketing to kids and family type groups is really how you're going to get more people in the stadium, and offering deals for teams and special maybe meet the team, have you pay a little extra and your whole team can meet the players and stuff like that's just going to really help grow the numbers of people going to the games. And I think it'll be cool to see. I think Charlotte's definitely primed. I think they're doing it right. Because they look decent against LA Galaxy. Obviously, LA Galaxy dominated the game in terms of possession, shots, and stuff. But when Charlotte had the ball, even defensively, they didn't look like Miami when they were an expansion team, or Austin last year, or Cincinnati, which
you can't forget Cincy.
Yeah. We can't. Are you sure? But yeah, so I think the future's bright for Charlotte for sure.
Zach, I think you really bring up a good point, because I really did feel like in the first part of our history, as far as the Union goes, they did a really good job of marketing to, let's put it blatantly, the soccer families. And I think they really aced that. And that's when you saw a lot of the stadium filled with families. And I think now that we've kind of evolved, you're starting to see the market towards the younger crowd, the college kids and all that good stuff. And just, try to broaden their horizons. And for right now, I think that is a great point, Zach. And dude, Zach, very well, is a hotbed of young soccer talent. So definitely try to attract all that. I think for myself, I think that Saturday was a great point to the league of, look, Charlotte, great job of expanding. However, we do know the product on the pitch is not where it needs to be. Now we go up way north and closer to where I was this past weekend. Did you guys see what happened in New England for the Revs match?
Embarrassing. How many people were there? Because it looked
14
like
something.
I was going to say
15 in the ballpark.
I was going to say it looked like it wouldn't have even filled up half the soup.
2 NFL, 174, the other 114. So obviously it's funny because one's play on the pitch is not that good. Another team's play on the pitch is really good.
Supporters Shield last year. Yeah.
So it's a microcosm, but we're gonna figure this out, and as the sports gets more popular, we'll definitely figure that out as well.
New England didn't look good though on
Saturday,
and funny enough, besides the kind of bad play in the field and their goal came on a penalty, did you see where their banner is located?
No.
The supporters shield. It's it's like near a club box. It's so out of the way. It's like, hey, Rob Kraft, I understand you've won Super Bowls, but you couldn't have hit it in this. At that point you would have felt like you would have hit it in the broom closet. It's just a joke. Come on,
that is terrible, man.
Won the supporters shield for most points. Come on,
You know what though, Justin? So I stopped in Foxborough yesterday on my way back from Maine, and I stopped at Gillette Stadium. There is not one piece of evidence that would tell you that the MLS club plays there. This is, like you just said, the supporter shield winning team, and it's Patriots everything. which I get it. It's the NFL, but you can't put up one stinking like logo or something like home of the Revs. What your club?
I mean, listen, Bob Kraft sometimes forgets he even owns a soccer team. So.
This is true. It is true.
Oh, wait, did you guys see real quick American sports and soccer that the Jets owners want to buy Chelsea?
Yeah, it
Oh,
is.
God.
And my thoughts and prayers go out to all my Jets fans out there because I would be pissed if I was a Jets fan and that was
I'd be hilarious.
I'd be pissed if I was a Chelsea fan.
Yeah, I'd be more concerned if I was a Chelsea fan than I was a Jets fan.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible. Well, gentlemen, let's get to our action on the pitch. Our club played on Saturday afternoon as well. A little 4:00 kickoff up in Montreal at the Big O. The first one of the season, so a little round of applause for our Philadelphia Union to get some 3-point game that did not start in our favor. I mean, you had Lassie Lapalainen with just like I would call like a little floater, a little teardrop, I would like to say, a little curler, and Andre
Deflection.
Yeah,
it's the craziest deflection I've ever seen in my life.
Andre literally thought it was going to go over the net.
I
thought it
looked
would too.
away from the screen. I was like, I saw him shoot, and I was like, yeah, I'll go on my phone. I heard their big bell going off, and I was like, what's going on?
Oh, my God.
And JP was like, and that's a goal for Montreal. And I was like, how on earth did that go in?
How did that happen? Yeah, so so that was 32 minutes into it, and I really felt like Montreal in the first half did a solid job keeping possession. And then in the second half, we really dodged a bullet early on. Mihalovic,
we
literally,
foul, man.
He is filthy though. He is.
We know your love for Mihalovic.
I think the reason, I mean, I think Jack Elliott, I think they kind of backed off because they thought it was a foul. Like, it was.
That whistle, man. You got to play that whistle.
Yeah, and he goes right up.
You can't risk that.
He goes right down center of the pitch, gets by Andre Blake, and of course, we go to the wonderful VAR as we see in Justin's nickname here today, and the ref said, no goal. A couple minutes later, though, Alan Bedoya with a nice heads-up play gets the ball in the box, lefty, the opposite foot.
Yeah,
broken play. That was just so disorganized, and Ali just thrashes it.
Because Sergio was holding off a guy while holding up the ball. Then the ball skirted through to Gazdag, who for sure got fouled. Like, that was a pen.
Yeah, I was waiting for like the call. Like, I was like waiting for something, and then the ball just bounced around, and Ali it just powers through to even get it to his foot, and then just belts it and curls it inside the
screen.
And then the camera pans to Leon Flock. And I was like,
wait, what?
It was a lefty shot. It must have been Leon.
I thought
it was Bedoya.
Leon.
I thought it was Bedoya, but I was like, all right, Flock scored. That's cool. And
both guys' numbers ended 1, so it makes sense.
Yeah, and they were like, no, it was Bedoya. And they were like, was it Flock? No, it was Bedoya. And I was like, I have no idea what's going on.
Well, then on your second goal, 3 minutes later, this is the game. Beautiful just ball from Kai to Julian, and Julian controlling it perfectly.
And then beautifully.
Filthy
lays it
pass
to your Daniel Gazdak there, Zach, and Daniel finishes it off. The Union get this win 2-1.
How he took a touch in that span and then finished, because he was running full speed. I thought he was going to hit it first time.
That was a weird play. Like, you look at it, and first of all, great touch by Carranza to chest that down and push it ahead, and then that cutback, and then you look. Gazdag's a righty, so he takes that touch with his left, and then I don't know if that was a toe ball. It looked so awkward.
He did open his foot, but it did look like it was caught under his feet a little bit.
Yeah, like he kind of he had to lean over it, not to because he kind of looked like he was about to fall over as the ball went in the net. And I was like, within 2 goals in 3 minutes, and you're going, oh shit, oh shit.
It's my MVP.
Turn it around. They turn it around. Real quick, just want to say say hi to some of the guys in the chat. AK Gaming, bring he's already done with Casper.
Guys, by the way, I might be in line for you guys to buy me that jersey at this rate. Because you know Glesnes is scoring. Casper scoring is definitely a question mark.
Yeah, man, that is so true. We want to say hello to Trav. Thank you so much for tuning in here tonight, my man. We're much better off with Casper.
Everyone is. Great. Everyone's much better without Casper.
And he's also showing some love to Julian Carranza, already making an impact, and did Ure. Well, we'll get to Ua as well. we made big steps forward. But for sure, we'll talk about that in just a second.
Wow.
What is up, PJ? Thank you so much for tuning on in, my brother. We got Mike Thomas in the building. What's up, my man? So bummed we didn't get to see content.
We did for 7 minutes. We did for 7 minutes.
We'll see some more, man. We'll definitely see it some more. Honestly, I know we haven't looked great, but I'm compared to the past starts, we look amazing. I'm hyped for the season, and that's a great point for PJ. It's still really early, and the Union never really. They're not a team that's going to start
They
out.
start off. They usually you typically this season. You're usually starting in March. Usually by like mid-April is when they kind of start to kind of figure it out. It takes there's a reason that the beginning of the season doesn't really mean much. It's just teams are figuring it out.
They're like the Phillies in the golden era. Once it gets to like August, September, they start turning it up, and they're one of the best teams in the league. So it'll be all right, guys. We'll be there. We'll be there. But gentlemen, I want to hear your takeaways. Your takeaways from Saturday's match. Takeaways from Saturday.
The one it's I still love Julian Carranza. I mean, it's a shame that second challenge I don't really think is a yellow. I think it was a bit harsh. He did catch him late, but there wasn't much like for a second yellow. I think that one at least deserved a warning. Because it was a foul, but it's a shame. But he with the assist, still looking good. Daniel Gazdag, I don't know what some of these podcasts are looking at that are saying he's not playing well. I think after 2 games, I'm already convinced that he's the DP we've been looking. He's the attacking mid we've been looking for so long. That guy that is a combination of a Barnetta and a Dochkow, someone that can pass it and shoot it. For so long, we've either had one or the other with our 10s. And it's great to finally see someone who isn't afraid to put it in the back of the net, but also understands that good link-up play with your strikers is key to really getting the offense going. And honestly, but VAR again, it was a foul, and then people were complaining about it's a foul. Like there's no reason for Mihailovic to even do that. Like if he bodies him, that's one thing, over his shoulder, but you literally see a two-handed shove, like, and you pull the hands away. That's an instant. Oh no, I did it. Like I did it. But honestly, the I think the biggest thing for me is, you only had about a 25-minute or so appearance from Ua. Oh my God, is this guy gonna be something special? I mean, 2 chances that he creates himself with at the start of the plays, very little separation, and all he does is just breaks away, just enough that perfect, not Sergio speed, but that breakaway speed, because and I think for most strikers, that kind of speed is key because it allows you to get a pretty solid shot off. And I honestly thought the second one was going to be in. I mean, Breza comes out and makes a strong save.
Yeah.
But I think it's just looking at that small body of work, I'm already excited for this season because
As you should be.
I think Ua is gonna be dangerous. I think he looks hungry, he looks determined, and he looks like unlike Casper, it looks like he can actually put the ball in the back of the net.
MVP.
No. That's Gazdag. That's not who.
Who was 2023 MVP?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll compromise.
Zach, we did keep Breza on his toes a lot, though. I would say for most of this match.
I think the first half we looked really bad. I know we had the majority of possession in by the end of the half, and we did have probably the better chances besides the goal.
The counterattack was big for Montreal, I felt like.
Yeah, but the issue that we ran into, and I put this in the the post game review, is that with three at the back formations, they're really difficult to press because of like where the wingbacks line up on the pitch in possession. And you saw, I don't know if you guys saw, but Matt Doyle like did a little write up on the Union.
Yeah, I did see that. Get
And he
into
was
that,
talking
man. I
about
like
how
that. What he's talking
how
about.
they kept swinging it around from side to side with Wanyama, who we mentioned did a really good job, and he did. And the reason that's an issue is because when we have three center mids plus Gazdag, I guess we have a 6 too, but let's just call them three center mids. The issue comes from the fact that not only do we have to like cover the guys in the middle, but now it forces our outside backs to step up on their wing backs, which causes gaps in behind. So therefore our outside backs are staying back a little bit and allowing the ball to be swung side to side with very little pressure. And that was an issue in the first half, but obviously they figured it out in the second half because besides the goal that got disallowed, the Union played really well in the second half. They pressed well. Montreal did not pass the ball nearly as well. So I think getting that press right, especially against three at the back teams, because there are plenty of teams in the MLS that play three at the back. So understanding like when we're going to play teams like that and understanding how to press them is going to be vital to making sure that we don't get dominated in games like we did in the first half, at least in terms of like possession up until the last like 10, 15 minutes. And then also, yeah, Gazdag is easily like I tweeted out too. Besides Jordy, Gazdag was by far the best player on the ball on the field. Now Carranza was very good on the ball too, but I felt like the entire game was played like through the air. Every time someone there was a time where Kai in the second half, they were on that field. Sure, I will give them credit
field,
for.
Oh my god,
it was the worst. But there was a time
dying. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, there was a time where Kai off a corner, their corner, started breaking down the field and had about 40 yards in front of him. And instead of dribbling, he just kicked it long to no one. I was like, what are we doing? Can we just keep the ball for a little bit of time? Just a bit. And so that was kind of frustrating. But I think on a bigger pitch and one that is actually, suitable for playing soccer, we will fare much better at passing the ball and keeping it on the ground. But Gazdag did a really good job of settling the game down when he got on the ball. I thought again in the first half he was a little shaky. He was misplacing passes, trying some stuff that didn't come off. But again, the whole team didn't look great in the first half. So I'm not gonna bash him for that. And the goal was phenomenal on all accounts. Wagner to Carranza to Gazdag was great. So hopefully we just see more of the same. And Justin's right. It was going to be an issue, and I think he might score 3 goals on Saturday. Not even kidding. Because
I really do think. I mean, we could talk about it, but Uwa showed even if you have someone tightly man marked on him, he is gonna break away. Like
he's strong because he's strong and fast.
And it's those direct runs, like both his runs were directly at the net. They weren't to the corner. They weren't hold up. He broke away towards the net and created his own chances. And that's what you need. And I think he could feast. He could feast this season on defenses like this.
I really felt like I mentioned, the counterattack, I thought Montreal was killing us on that. But Ismail Kone, did you guys see him in the first half? Literally all over the pitch for Montreal, especially on the counter. He had the assist on the lap line. And
no, he was a problem in the first half, and I think that's what Jim addressed in the second half. You saw him and Wanyama were controlling the midfield in the first half.
Yeah.
Second half, the Union, even down a man, gummed up the midfield, made things tough, forced them out wide. And if you're trying to cross it in all the time against the Union, between Klesnes and Elliott, you're not getting that ball through. Like even with Kai Kamara, I said it. If you're going to be relying on Kai Kamara to be, his headers, he's great at headers. Like against defenses that don't have, two walking, bean poles.
Yeah.
of Glasnes and Elliott. Like, that's a lot of defender, and the Union had no problem in the second half just making life miserable, even for Mihalovic. Like, outside of that goal that was called back, he didn't do much in the second half, and I think that was key. And I said, if you shut him down, it's like a lot of teams that have a solid 10. You go to Nashville, Columbus,
dude.
like Minnesota. Like, you have these 10.
Hold on with that one.
These teams that are really reliant on their playmaker to pull the strings and don't have much other creativity. And Jordy was balling in the first half and then just
shut him down, man.
Yeah, the Union just gummed everything up and made life difficult.
I actually think my biggest takeaway is that my Montreal at 4 pick is not as insane as everyone.
I still think it's insane. I still think it's insane.
Probably not.
I think they're going to be good, dude. I think they're going to be good.
Real quick, guys, because we got 4 minutes left here before we have to move on to San Jose. I think we do need to touch upon the right back situation.
Oh, yeah, Harriel won it, dude. Harriel won it. It's his job forever.
Mike commented here.
I have no problem with this. Zach and I both said it last week that we thought Nate would maybe take over against San Jose. Like, we felt sooner rather than later. And Jim addressed it. He said performance. He knew what we saw, that Bizo was not playing well. And Nate, honestly, you can't blame that goal. Like, no, he's good.
Absolutely not.
He closed out tough. That was a one-time shot. He closed out. He was there. It's a shame. Honestly, everyone thought that was going over the net. But outside of that, Nate had a damn good game. And
listen,
I think that's your outside back that, as I said, goes forward and gets back. Bizo has always seemed to have issues getting back and positioning. His positioning has never been great. Nate had some moments where his positioning wasn't ideal, but he knows how to get back. He knows how to track back. He would make those runs earlier. He wouldn't try to cut the ball off. He'd meet the man. He would stay tight. He stayed tight on defenders. You want to see that from your outside backs. You want to see them go out and attack the winger and force them to make a move, and created a lot of problems. And I think Nate had a very solid game. And I think I have no reason to take him out of the lineup for San Jose.
Yeah, and Bizo came in and also almost cost us the game again twice. That was bizarre to me. Like, Harriel did a great job filling in as a right center back in a back three, which evidently was what happened, because then Bizo kind of.
I thought it was like a 4-1.
It was like a 4-4-1, but then Bizo, it was weird. But either way, I was shocked that they just didn't bring in like Finley or Bueno and just have one of them play center back in a back three.
I would have rather had Finley at that. Like, come on.
Yeah, it was a weird sub. I mean, it ended up paying off because we won. But dude, when they had that wide open header at the back post, I saw it happening in slow motion. I was like, oh my god!
What, the Kamal Miller?
Like, thank God, man.
Yeah.
So because Bizo's guy and he was open.
So this is what I will say. I thought Nate looked like how I thought he would. Now, I still think defensively, there's still some things he needs to work on. Not even talking about the Lapalainen goal, but I thought some instance where he let a guy go. But what I will say is, give it some time. I do think he will, especially early on. He's still really young as well.
Yeah.
And we'll see how. I'm going to judge this based off of full season. I hope Nate can stay here, because I think that Olivier and Nate have the same strength, and that is they're great on the attack. They know how to get up. Nate has more speed than Olivier does. But I'm not ready to say he is the definite right back yet. I personally need to see some more body work on it, but that is definitely a great start for someone who got his first, I would say, start where we didn't have COVID or international duties in place. So,
his first earned start. Let's say earned start.
Let's go. I like that. I definitely like that. So definitely a solid win here for our boys. 3 points. You know, you'll take it how you get it, right? It wasn't the prettiest. You had to play in the big O, right?
That's how it works.
But now, gentlemen, we come back home and we face off against a San Jose squad who, let's face it, they also need some points as well. A tough earned point this past weekend, but
Crazy
they need to
point.
they need to get some momentum going. Yeah, crazier in point to say the least. So let's move forward to our San Jose preview. And of course, as always, guys, we always like to bring on the best guests on here to kind of get you guys prepared for all these matches this week, ladies and gentlemen, to get us prepared for the San Jose Earthquakes. Please welcome the first time on Duke by the River, Fabian Renkel. What's going on, my man? How you feeling,
What's
brother?
up? Hey, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much for letting me come on and speak some Earthquakes with you guys.
We really appreciate you taking some time out, man. And Fabian, you're all the way in Japan, my man. So we really thank you for that one, man.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Yeah, I mean, I started covering the Quakes once I moved out here, and now I'm here. Like doing another podcast.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, Fabian, kind of explain, what you kind of do as far as covering the Earthquakes and as far as everything you do with sports coverage.
Yeah, so the Earthquakes had one of the most high-profile kind of Latin American coaches in MLS and in the kind of the CONCACAF area, and there was nobody really that can kind of translate his press conferences and kind of give their ideas.
¿Hablas español?
Sí, cómo no, sí, siempre hablo español.
Sí es, there we go.
Yeah. So I'm Uruguayan, so I can kind of get the tone of Matias Almeida, because that's like mom and dad talking to me. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I've been covering the Quakes. I have another show where it's called Mate Soccer, and I go ahead and I bring on MLS players to talk about mate and things like that. We just had Tesho Akindele.
I saw that.
Yeah. I'm working with the Philadelphia Union for Jack McGlynn. He was gonna come on, but then he had an MLS meeting go a little longer, so we got to reschedule. But that's coming.
No worries, man. No worries. Yeah. You got the mate.
Sorry, you cut out for a second, but yeah, I have mate in Japan because Brazilians drink it. So
okay.
Yeah, I do have the mate around, but like I said, like I always say in my episodes, it's a journey to put it on and to really set it all up. When you get a cup of coffee really easy, but it's more of a culture thing for sure.
Absolutely, man. We definitely love that around here, my man. Well, listen, Fabian. So, definitely solid point you guys earned last week as far as San Jose goes. Wild match. You get two late set piece goals, and you guys steal a point away from Columbus. Kind of your take from that match against Columbus.
Yeah, man. Honestly, nobody in the world thought we were going to come back, and when Cabo, I guess. We got that's a pretty funny comment. Jack McGlynn seems the more Lipton than Mate. That's true. But usually let me say this before I go into San Jose. Usually the case is like because early in MLS there were some DPs that were Argentinian and Brazilian, and they're usually like the guy who influences the locker room. Mate is actually one of the things that bonds everybody together. So in Orlando, all the American guys actually have their own kind of mate and thermoses because of all the Latin guys. So. I know Jack McGlynn seems like a funny guest to have on, but who knows? Maybe he does. All right,
we haven't had an Argentinian in a while. Was it Eduardo
Carranza now?
Oh, well, it's obviously. But Fafa, if you don't, I don't know. Do you remember Fafa Pico when he was?
Yeah. I had him on the show. I actually had an episode with him. Yeah.
Great dude. He was a big mate guy himself. Yeah. So he would always walk around with the mate in Chester, man.
Yeah, no, I saw pictures of it. And I was like, dude, I gotta get this guy on. So I talked to Houston, and they worked to get him on. Yeah, that was pretty funny. San Jose. Nobody in the stadium and nobody at home actually thought this was gonna happen. So it was 1-3. We were down a man. I don't know if you guys saw the game, but Montero, didn't really. To me, shouldn't have been a red card. I think it wasn't as reckless as it looked in the slow mo. Personally. And it hurt me a little bit because I wanted to see him play in Philly again because there was some rumors about his burner and then things going around that there was a couple things where in the locker room he might have been a headache. So I wanted to see a revenge game, something to write about this week, something to kind of bring a little edge to it. And the Quakes, if I gotta say one thing about the Quakes and if I gotta put it in one word, they're entertaining. That's what they are. To be honest, very entertaining. Just because you don't know what formation Matias Almeida is gonna say or gonna put. You don't know what Matias Almeida is gonna say. He might say, the Philadelphia Union, man, that's a nice team. I wish I had a team like that. It might happen. I was the person that asked him about Hector Herrera, and he went off about Hector Herrera. So definitely. Sure, yeah, definitely. It's a fun team. It's going to be exciting. I'm excited to play Philly. We haven't played them in a while, just like we didn't play Columbus and New York in a while. So it's nice to kind of actually finally get MLS games under our belt like an MLS team, not just a West Coast team. So it's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Justin and Zach, are we ever going to get away from burner accounts in Philadelphia?
It. I don't know what it is about Philly that attracts people that like think
Like
that
burner accounts.
having a burner account is going to deflect like blame. Like it's listen, we are listen. The FBI could take notes from Philadelphia sports fans doing their due diligence
Oh
because
yeah. Oh, yeah.
we've discovered every burner, and it's not a secret for very long. So
Yeah.
At least Colangelo was a little more discreet with it. I mean, Jameer, it literally said JM in the burner account.
Yeah.
It's like,
and he followed the teams that Jameer had either played for or were playing. Like it just you can put two and two easily together.
yeah, pretty much. Well, Fabian, we really been wondering here about your manager, Matias Almeida. Obviously, I mean, listen, we know his track record. You know, he came from River Plate, came from Chivas, and it hasn't gone per se in the way that he probably anticipated, probably most fans anticipated as well. Kind of your thoughts on Matias. How warm or how hot is this seat, and what does the future hold for Matias?
Look, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. If we were any other club in MLS, this seat would be very hot 2 years ago. Like this seat is so cold right now. Like this guy can say anything, and as fans, or a lot of fans are, they're actually hoping for him to kind of go out on the last press conference of the year and just like say like you're cool, you're not, like just to kind of do that, because at the end of the day, like if you love him or hate him, he is pushing the envelope forward for this club by saying the Hector Herrera thing, and then the national media picks it up, and then all of a sudden you get an athletic report saying that the owner is holding us back as a team, and you get executives to vote on it anonymously. So he is pushing the envelope forward. If it's in a bad way, I mean, I guess any press is good press for us. That's for sure.
I mean, when you got in Argentina, you're talking about River, and then they're talking about San Jose. Hello, ¿qué equipo del Matías Almeida, el San Jose en los Estados Unidos? It's like, I guess
boludo, ¿por qué me hablas de eso?
that is some good press. That is definitely some good press. One thing we've criticized him on has been the tactics. Listen, we understand the man-on-man, right? We worked in Chivas, we worked in River, but it hasn't really per se worked here in the United States with San Jose. I mean, do you think it needs to change? Do you agree with the man-on-man?
So they actually haven't done the man marking in quite a bit.
Okay.
He kind of prides himself in this, that he can change his formations a lot more now. So they kind of dropped the man marking once. Like I mean, they didn't do it as religiously like they did in the first 2 years, these last 2 years. The problem with the man marking was I don't think Matias Almeida realized the travel that was involved with MLS, as well as kind of like the COVID year. So I truly think, as well as another big thing in MLS, the depth isn't there. So you really have your guys going 130%, and then all of a sudden you're putting like 16-year-olds, in the next game, and it's like, yeah, of course we look, inexperienced and kind of unorganized now because these guys are running super hard. I don't know if you guys remember Osvaldo Alanis, but he would always say, like in his press conferences, he was a former Chivas player and then he played for San Jose and Mexican national team. But he would say, like, hey, man, we're tired out here. In his press conferences, he'd be like, we're running a lot, like it was like something where it was like, yeah, I mean, but who else are we going to put on? Like a straight, draftee from Stanford, which we did. And then he became like his own thing, Tanner Beeson. But yeah, I mean, sometimes playing the 16-year-olds leads to like guys like Kate Cowell, where the dude is built like a Robotron, but besides that, it's going to be hard to kind of get a cohesive playoff team, especially in the West, Well, now I used to say that all the time, right? Especially in the West, but playing these Eastern Conference teams and seeing how strong they are now, it's like, man. Oh man, like, okay, in the whole MLS. So,
yeah, I mean, you just look at us in the Red Bull, we kind of play similar styles of soccer. Yeah. So just that alone. Fabian, your soccer expertise, let's say you're the manager of San Jose. With the way the squad is structured, what kind of tactics and what kind of system would you run for San Jose?
Yeah, you know what? I actually do like this last formation that they went ahead and used versus Columbus. On paper, it looks like a 4-3-1, but or a 3-4-3. But it's actually kind of like a 4-4. I want to say 4-4-1-1 because they play with Paul Marie starting in the midfield, but really he's going to slide back into that right back role. And then you have Marcos Lopez playing that left center back on paper, but in reality, he's going to be that left back for you. So you're really playing with 4 at the back like they did versus Columbus. And you had Calvo and you had Jackson Yule. Yeah, you heard that right. Jackson Yule at center back.
Where's Timmy boy? Where's Tim?
Which is totally, honestly, you got to get him on the field because he's our captain. But he's one of the weakest midfielders for us now because we brought in Hamido, we brought in John Grey Goose, 2 guys that are DP quality guys. But I don't think I said this before, but this is the first time in Matias Almeida's 4 years here that we actually have 3 DPs. So it's like
we had 3 DPs, and then we traded you one of them.
We gave you one of ours.
You know what? Like Hamido does look like he's class, and I gotta give Chris Leach his roses. Maybe we took advantage of somebody having a burner account and getting caught on it, but I would take it. I mean, the first 2 touches he had for the Earthquakes, it definitely looked like class. But personally, for the tactics, I like the 4 in the back because we have Marcos Lopez, which he doesn't get a lot of praise, but that dude, I'm gonna say it on camera. He's the best left back in the league. I mean, he does it for Peru. I mean, so I'm on Tectonic Takes, but I'm gonna say it. He does it for Peru. He shuts down Gabriel Jesus every time they play Brazil. He shuts down all the guys like in Uruguay, in Argentina. It goes up against Di Maria, and Peru is about to qualify for the World Cup. So if we played a real formation where it wasn't a man marking or it wasn't kind of this Almeida ball, Marcos Lopez would definitely be one of the, if not the best, left back in the league. Sorry, I made you spit out your water there.
Kai Wagner might like a word about one of the best left backs in the league.
Yeah, well, no, Extra Time did a piece about the best left backs in the league, and he wasn't in the top 5. And I was like, dude, you guys watch anything besides CONCACAF? Like, there's no way this guy's shutting down Gabriel Jesus and Di Maria, and you're not putting him in the top 5. That's just me.
Yeah, no, I have some issues with Extra Time's rankings, but that's
I think they do it. I think they do it to add a little salt, so they talk about.
A little spice to it.
Exciting guys for the team. Sorry if I cut you off.
No. Go right ahead, please.
Marcos Lopez is definitely a guy to keep an eye on. I was gonna say Hamido, but you guys already know. You guys already know him. But Jeremy Abobsi has 1 goal in 15 games for us. So it's getting to a point where he had a really bad injury last year, and it's getting to a point where he needs to score a goal. So he needs to kind of get out of that goal drought, and people still have faith in him, and people still think he's a quality striker. I even start him on my fantasy team. Maybe that's a regret, but it's something where he needs to get a goal in. So I would keep an eye out for Jeremy Abobsi and Marcos Lopez, but as well as Chofis Lopez. Chofis Lopez can score an Olympic goal on you, so it's really this team has a lot of creative potential. They just can't get it on the field.
Okay. What about what's going on with Tommy Thompson? I brought him up before we started recording. I remember a couple of years ago. I mean, he was like one of Almeida's favorite players, and now he's coming off the bench, from my understanding.
Well, so Tommy Thompson was a fill-in right back. Like, he did a great job, kind of being that Band-Aid to an open wound that we really haven't filled in since we traded away Nick Lima to Austin, and now we see him doing big things in Austin. But again, Nick Lima didn't even work well in San Jose with Almeida, so it's something that we haven't really truly filled in since Steven Badischer, like since the Goonie days. So it's something that we've had a rotating door of right backs the whole time. But we had Marvel Wynn. Marvel Wynn did a great job at right back too. But the problem with the right back position is Tommy Thompson got burned by Christian Pavone way too many times, and the DP quality is just getting too big. Tommy Thompson's a good right back for the regular MLS player, but when we're talking about the DP level guys like Pavone, that was in the league a couple years prior, the Velas, of course he's going to be outmatched because he's not a real right back, right? But he comes in the game nowadays. He can be a 10, he can be an 8, he can be a right back. So it's something that he is going to be able to play that right back position sometimes.
And how much of a hype is Cade Cowell right now for San Jose fans?
Yeah, the Cade Cowell hype train was really high before the season, really, really high. But when they put him at left back, the Matias Almeida ball, I mean, the guy was 2 steps behind his mark every time, and that's why New York scored 3 goals on us, and that's why it looked like it was Calvo versus 4 every time, because the right backs and the left backs, which was Christian Espinoza, are number 10, and Cade Cowell at left back. So that's one time where I really saw Matias Almeida get the tactics wrong, and that was a little too ambitious. And that goes to the Quakes not playing any MLS talent in preseason, because that worked. That ran havoc during the USL teams, but when it was against an MLS team and a strong MLS team with New York Red Bulls, yeah, that didn't work.
Was Jamiro really playing as a false nine in that game?
No. The lineups are so wrong online.
Okay,
Yeah,
because we were looking at like we're like this can't be right. Like Jamiro thought he was a 10 here.
Yeah.
Is he a striker? Like what?
No, Jameer thought he was Ronaldinho here.
Yeah,
I mean, seeing the little glimpses of Jamiro, like definitely quality compared. I mean, the Quakes have some good players, but seeing his like at least his kind of like creativeness and his kind of touch, it's like whoa, like that's something I haven't seen on the Quakes for a little bit. So it's nice to see a player like that come in for us. I know he can't be a headache in the locker room because we already got too many headaches. Like
I would say the issue really wasn't necessarily. I mean, yeah, he was a head case in the locker room. The problem was he's an 8 that thought he was a 10 in the system where we already got a DP 10 that was the player we needed, and every time he touched the ball near the box, the play died because he thought it was Ronaldinho, and he would try to take 3 guys on, and the ball would go the other way. It like we loved him. He had some quality, but there were times it's like you're not that kind of midfielder.
He was frustrating.
That was his problem though, because I do think that I do think he could play as a 10. I think he could play as an 8. I think the problem was the dancing. Like, why are you trying to take on 2 defenders? Just find the quick pass, and especially in our system, like make the quick passes that goes farther than what. And also just taking the long shots. He wasn't.
Oh my god, the free kicks over the damn net. It was like Brujo taking a shot. You knew that ball was never going near the net.
Yeah, I was gonna say the first press conference we had with Hamido, he talked about the passes need to be quicker. So that's pretty funny because you guys are saying that he wasn't good at passing the ball quickly. And to be honest, he's not even a 10 here. Chofis Lopez is our 10. So it's truly weird to see, like, yeah, I mean, but we re-signed him. I guess Tanner Wald kind of said that we re-signed him for another year. So we'll see how it works out. I don't think we're gonna get Chofis Lopez on a permanent, so that's why I think Hamido is gonna be our 10.
There you go. Mike brings up a good point, and I actually agreed when that deal went down. I think you guys got a good deal for Jamiro as well. Go ahead, Fabian.
Yeah, when I wrote a tweet, I saw his first touch of the game. I got a little too crazy. I said, this might be the best offseason move by any team this year.
For the price, it might be,
because of the price tag. Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was one of those deals that, yeah, the Union could have gotten more, but the Union had such depth that and San Jose needed the player that it's a win-win in terms of you're getting an international spot, you're freeing up that roster spot, and like, yeah, the deal, you could have gotten more, but at that point, if he was the locker room problem that he was, it was at least worth just getting him, and you won't have to at this point you won't have to see him the whole year.
Right.
Well, as we know, we won't see him this upcoming Saturday when San Jose takes a trip
he
here.
Purposely planned it. Him and Ben Simmons. It's collusion, I'm telling you.
Neither wanted to play in Philly.
They knew it. It's just supposed to be revenge week.
At least Jameer has a valid reason.
I wanted to say that the Quakes actually got John Gregus to kind of play that role before Jamiro was even on the table. So it was more like we didn't really need the player, but we could use a third DP. We can use the cover for next year, and we can kind of grab him for this cheap spot because we had like 6 or 7 international spots left over. I know Matias Almeida always talks about, we had 8 players leave, and we only got 3 in. So, if you do the calculations, we got 5 international spots, So, it was something where we took advantage of, especially our draft picks too. We picked up Semi Buddha. He dropped down.
What's a draft?
I guess. See, we're different leagues, man. I'm in MLS. I feel like sometimes I care about the super draft. I
Yeah,
mean,
the-
I
Ernst
care about
Tanner-
16
Ernst
girls
Tanner-
coming up the pipeline, Like,
Hey, listen,
I
Ernst
haven't heard
Tanner
of the
changed
super
the
draft
game.
since Elliott got drafted.
Yeah, I'd say Ernst Tanner has changed the draft to the point where it's virtual now because Ernst Tanner just kept trading picks.
And passing on picks too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the passing on picks is something I never truly understand, especially with the number 2 league coming in, the next pro. So it's like, why are you passing?
That's a good point. At least take 1 or 2 players, right? But I mean,
Or, yeah,
Ernst
or
really
just
feels that strongly.
give him a free hat, like just draft him, and then you can throw on his Wikipedia, and then all right, man, we'll try you out, and then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right?
Absolutely. I think too as well, Fabian. As you're going to interview Jack, you'll notice we're pretty strong in that position. We got Jack, Quinn, and Paxton, 3 young homegrowns who we're trying to give some more opportunities because they truly have deserved it with their play and in the short amount of minutes that they've played. So I think it'll work out. I think it'll work out for both sides for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, guys, let's look back at our club here. So as we do. Let's start up looking at these lineups here for both sides. Gentlemen, this upcoming Saturday, obviously no Julian Carranza this upcoming Saturday. So what could you see the lineup being here? And will the diamond continue on? Zach, if you see the lineup being here for the Union?
I think it'll be the diamond and everything will stay the same except Corey Burke will start and Ua will start. I think that's basically it. Maybe Ali doesn't start. I don't know about how they're going to manage his minutes this season. Now, to be fair, he looked like old Ali on Saturday. Like he did.
I like your take on Twitter, Zach.
He did not look like he was tiring out like he did last season and in the first game this season. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come. But if they are managing his minutes, I could see Quinn slotting into where Ali was. That seems to be the natural progression of things. Is Quinn is kind of Ali's sub at this point because they kind of can play that similar role. But other than that, Ua is going to start in his first match at home, and Corey Burke is a good compliment to him. I don't think you would start him and Sergio up top together. Unfortunately, the link up play I don't think is going to be as good without Carranza, but hopefully Gazdag can work his magic and get Ua a couple goals.
That should be. I'm excited to see you for the first time at the Sioux. Oh, it's gonna be exciting, man. Justin, any changes you see, or do you agree with Zach?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have to talk about the back line or the goalie because as I said, Andre Blake is written in permanent marker.
And Harriel gets another shot too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the man is listed by arguably the best goalie in the league. I don't care, Revs fans, Matt Turner. Andre Blake is better.
Matt Turner's not even playing right now.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. At this point, like it's come on. I think the back line played pretty well. I think Nate Harriel deserves this, as I said earlier, deserves to start. I think he, while still young, still raw, some of the positioning he has to work on, but he makes up for it with his athleticism and his ability to get up and back. While he might not be in the best position, he knows how to track back, and I think that's the problem been with Bizo. So I definitely see the back line staying the same. In terms of the midfield, I agree with Zach. I think it's gonna stay the same. As he said, the only change I could see is maybe Ali out, and I could see Quinn or Jack. Because I think it depends on what you want. With the way that San Jose plays, I think that Quinn might be better suited because of, Jack's not really as fast. So I think if you want that speed, I think Quinn's going to give you that athleticism to bring the ball up. And up top, I agree with Zach. I think Ua and Corey makes the most sense because while you don't have the link-up play of Carranza, Burke is pretty good at holding the ball up, and Ua has already shown in the 25 minutes that he played that he can create. If you give him that ball, he's going to create his own chances. And if I'm Matias Almeida, I'm looking at Francisco Calvo and praying that he knows how to play like he does for Costa Rica, because if not, Ua is gonna feast on that back line, and that's what intrigues me is in the way that this game is shaping up and the way that San Jose plays, it really speaks to the Union's strengths of that counterattack, of launching those balls and playing through the wide channels and really stretching the field. And I think I feel bad for JT Marcinkowski because this could be an ugly game depending on how many goals happen, at least in the first half.
Yeah, man.
My bet for the game is Calvo anytime yellow card, just because I know he's going to pull Ua back at least one time.
Did he get a red card the last time he
say.
faced the Union with Chicago? Am I correctly?
I
In
don't know.
Soldier Field, right?
No, I think it was at home. The last night
I think you're right. I do think. And real quick, guys, we forgot to mention, but congratulations to Corey Burke on another baby. Congrats, Corey.
Second child. Congrats to the Burke family.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He was having a kid, guys. Wasn't doing anything else. He was just having a kid. So congratulations to Corey Burke. All right, Fabian. So what is the tactics here for San Jose? What could the potential lineup look like for the Quakes?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a pretty similar lineup to the one we saw last week. I think we see Paul Marie kind of on that right back side, and then we have Calvo and then Jackson Ewell again, because Nathan, one of our best center back, actually has I think a torn meniscus, so he's not going to play for a bit. Marcos Lopez on that left, and then we actually might see Chofis Lopez a little more centrally this game. We saw him kind of play out to the right hand side last game, and then we're going to see probably Espinoza on the left. We're going to see Judson and Rometty in the middle, and then as well. Actually, I'm sorry. There probably no Judson, probably Jan Grey Goose. And then on the right-hand side, it's going to be Espinoza. On the top, it's going to be Cade Cowell and probably Jeremy Bobusi. I think we're going to see something like that. But I'm going to say this. The one, MLS great Chris Wondolowski once said, in a Matias Almeida system, there really isn't positions. so that's the honest truth. We can talk tactics all we want, but we got 11 players out there. I mean, the only person that really has a position is JT. But sometimes I feel like he's a cat out there because there's so many balls peppering him. So definitely, no, he does a great job for what he has to do. But we're hoping the San Jose Earthquakes are definitely hoping that Calvo kind of has this little resurgence. And to be honest, we may just throw him up there as a striker. If he gets 2 goals at crunch time, you might as well throw him up there to be a striker. Then maybe throw a Jan Grey Goose down like Jackson Ewell to be center backs. So
okay. So I'm intrigued. So. You see Marcos Lopez going up against Nathan Harriel.
Yeah, that should be a great matchup. I think it's something that would be, definitely a great matchup within MLS next week.
Great test. That's a great test for Nathan Harriel. We'll see how he answers to that one for sure. But all right, guys, it is the nitty gritty time. It is prediction time. So, Fabian, as you being our lovely guest here, what do you see happening this upcoming Saturday in Subaru Park?
Yeah, I'm not going to get a lot of brotherly love for this one because I'm like, but I think the Quakes are actually a better team on the road, to be completely honest. We didn't have a good home kind of record last year or the year before, but we had a pretty good away one relative to the other teams in MLS. I think either this may be a trap game. I think we may see like a 1-0 from the Quakes, or we see maybe a 2-2. I think a 2-2 draw is something that the Quakes would see as a win.
So as the last time I checked, the weather in Chester, Pennsylvania on
25
Saturday
degrees
and rain. No, some
rain.
Rain
Gonna
for
be
most of the day, but by game time, it's gonna be like down to 25. But Zach and I have our Casa League opener on Saturday, 19 radius all hell.
I may or may it depend. My game for Saturday still is yet to be scheduled for my indoor league for my team that I'm coaching, so I don't know if I'll be there or not. But yes, it is going to be gross.
That's definitely going to be a factor. But all right, so Justin, what do you see happening on Saturday afternoon or night?
I think. It's gonna be choppy. It's gonna be chippy when you get between Ali and Calvo. I don't know who's gonna have the more fiery personality on the field. But as I said, I think if this was the first game of the season, I would definitely agree with Fabian that this might be a trap. But I think getting Minnesota out of the way, and especially Montreal on the road, I think the team shook off whatever nerves that they had. I definitely see the team Union winning. I'm initially was going to go 2-0, but I think I'm feeling 3-1. And I think bags his first goal for the Union, and I think it's a banger. And I think, who knows? I think as it gets late, I definitely see Almeida throwing Calvo up there. But unfortunately, the difference between Columbus and Philadelphia is our center backs tower at least 6'5", 6'6", compared to Columbus. We have between the Viking and Jack the Beanpole. It's tough to see who's more of a walking Peter Crouch. But no, I think 3-1 Union. I think it's a shame Jamiro's not going to be playing, because I'm curious to see what his reaction would have been, at least the fan reaction to him would be.
I would assume positive, right? I mean,
Yeah, I would think.
I would
so.
assume mostly.
he didn't pull a Ben Simmons, so I mean, I think it would be positive for sure. Zach, what do you think happens on Saturday?
I concur. I think 3-1.
Okay.
My prediction is a little more ballsy because I think Ua is going to score all three. But I also think that either Cade or Abobasi get off the mark on Saturday. One of the two gets their first goal of the season. So
should be interesting. Fabian, before I let you go, one quick question, since you are actually our very first San Jose guest, so thank you for that one.
Yeah, thank you.
One thing I always wondered, I love the San Jose Clash look. I love the way the kits look. I would love one of those. That's one of the kits I would love. That's a non-union one.
Yeah.
For you personally,
yeah.
would you, if you had the opportunity, would you go back to the Clash, or are you cool with the history of the Earthquakes?
You know what? This is actually a big topic in like the San Jose world, right? Like last week we played against Columbus, two maybe of the most unrecognizable teams in MLS, right? Like if you look on a map, where's San Jose and then where's Columbus, right? Most people don't know it. Or at least people outside of the U.S. kind of don't know it. What
you got the man?
What's that? Sorry, one more time.
You guys represent the Bayside, the Bay Area,
right? But if you say, "Hey, where's San Jose?" they can't point into a map. So the problem is more like the Golden State Warriors, like where they say it's the Golden State Warriors, but like they know like it's from the Bay because they have the city jerseys, they have the Oakland jerseys, they have like the Bay jerseys. So I think the San Jose Earthquakes. I mean, for one. This is a sentiment around the league or around the fan base. We do need new owners. I mean, he's the owner of the A's, so he's really. I mean, you guys know of the Oakland A's, right? Moneyball and Billy Bean. So it's something that he wants to implement in soccer. And then another thing is we need to capture the whole Bay Area. Like the San Jose kind of name is what roots all the way back to NASL days, where it was like we're the blue collar side of the Bay Area, or we're not San Francisco. We're not gonna, and that roots all the way back to when we first started. But I think in this global market now and MLS growing, it's something we need to look into. And I wouldn't mind kind of seeing maybe like a Clash look. I wouldn't mind seeing kind of like at least, like something like the Bay Area Clash, something like that could definitely be a rebrand that the fan base wouldn't be too, mad about. Yeah, we like the Quakes and we like the Earthquakes. It's a good name, but that can always be our nickname too. So it's something where the team needs to be a little more recognizable to the outside world, especially. I mean, if we have Matias Almeida now and people still can't point out San Jose, they're never going to be able to point out San Jose. So it's something that it's going to be something to think about in the next coming years, especially as MLS grows with this World Cup coming up.
Yeah, man, that's very good points. We always like to hear the inputs of the rest of the league. Obviously, here in Philly right now, it's butterflies and rainbows, but it wasn't always like that. I mean, Justin was. How long have you been a season ticket holder now, Justin? It's been a while, right?
2016. But I've been a Sons of Ben member since the beginning. Went to the first 3 games at the Lynx.
Wasn't always pretty, Justin.
Oh God, no! Are you kidding me? I remember watching a game against Breck Shea, where Breck Shea was a striker. This was before he moved to Stoke. And God, Union back then were ugly. Like you talk about these expansion teams that are starting off great, and I'm like, no, you should have to suck complete ass for at least the first few years, to then appreciate what it means to finally be a good team.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Fabian, seriously, thank you so much for coming on in,
Yeah,
man. It was a pleasure having you on. Where can people find your wonderful work so people can find you there, man?
Yeah. You can definitely find me on Twitter at Fabian Renkel. Sometimes when you see like reports of Matias Almeida or like Hercules Gomez kind of retweeting, it's usually something that I did or said
Nice.
as well. Yeah, so if you see something like out of San Jose, it's usually me or one of the guys that are in San Jose because it's a great media team out there too. And yeah, I do Mate Soccer. That's kind of a personal project that I work on as well. So if you guys want to watch some MLS interviews, please go ahead and check out Mate Soccer. I do them in Spanish and English. So when it's in Spanish, I try to do subtitles for the English speakers. So definitely we have guys all over the league, and it's a fun time. We just kind of try a lot, we have a fun time. We talk. So
awesome stuff there. Real quick for PJ, it's Ua. Michael Ua.
Yeah, that is based on the chant from the Brøndby fans. That's what everyone's been going with, and I don't think he's corrected anyone since.
And by Brøndby fans, he means that little child who was singing.
Oh, it was God. They even when they interviewed after the game, he goes like he even said like I can't believe that they actually knew that chant.
Yeah.
So it's wild to see. I think yeah, him getting off the mark on Saturday would be huge.
Huge.
I think the stadium might there might be an earthquake on the banks of the Delaware.
Hey.
Absolutely. We'll definitely put Fabian, all the links for Fabian in the description, so you guys can go make sure to check that out. But thank you again to Fabian for coming on in and give us the input on the San Jose Earthquakes. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for another episode of DOOP by the River. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys like and subscribe for all the live DOOP by the Rivers we post on here on Ed Barcelo Philly's YouTube channel. And of course, you can find us on PSN Radio, and you can find that wherever you stream podcasts from Apple, Google, and Spotify. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Fabian. That is Zach Lobasso. That is Justin, name pending VAR review Freiburg. Of course, I'm Ed Barcelo Philly, and we're telling you guys the DOOP on. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
DOOP by the river.
Doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli.